Computex 2026 is over, and it sure was something. The shift from traditional computing to AI was very much in place. You could feel it, smell it, and hear creators complaining about it. Even though I had very little time to explore due to the grueling schedule, and thanks to Tim from Team Pandori for helping me meet it, there were definitely less mini PCs on display this year. A lot less. Clearly the PC sector is in a recession, and cost cutting was on display. Anyway, every year we put together a roundup of mini PCs we found interesting that weren't covered by sponsored booth coverage. So, here it is. And we'll start with ASUS. While we did have sponsored coverage of the booth, it was exclusively tied to mini PCs with Intel CPUs, but there were some others on display. Obviously, the biggest announcement was Nvidia's RTX Spark chip, which combines a 20-core ARM CPU with an Nvidia iGPU to run Windows. It does this by relying on Microsoft's Prism emulator to run traditional x86 and x64 applications on ARM. How well will this work? Well, depends on the app, and compatibility won't be 100%. Also, you can expect with emulation there is a performance penalty over running apps natively. But, well, with Nvidia bankrolling this, or, well, some of it, I'm sure things will improve quickly. ASUS showed off a ProArt mini PC featuring Nvidia's RTX Spark chip, which was prominently displayed near the front of the booth. Yep, Jensen came by and squiggled all over it. He probably wasn't as excited as squiggling all over that chick's chest the previous year. But let's put that down to cost-cutting measures. Anyway, I have questions. Well, mini PC not Jensen related, such as wattage, performance, fan noise under load, release date, and price. And while not all of those can be answered, price-wise, well, expect a similar or higher US dollar price tag as seen with AMD's Ryzen AI Max Plus 395 chip mini PCs. So, for those with deeper pockets. Anyway, it's good to see Nvidia sort of enter the mini PC market, although they'll definitely be focusing on its AI capabilities over regular computing or gaming, so take that as you will. That's not the only thing ASUS showed. There was also the PN55 Expert Center. This uses a chassis we've seen before on the Intel NUC side, and comes with AMD's Ryzen 400 series CPUs. And since it mentions up to 12 cores, I'm assuming it goes up all the way to the HX470. If you want to see a review of the Expert Center, pop it in the comments and I'll try and make it happen. Finally, we have the ASUS Ascent QN10. This is a mini PC using a Qualcomm ARM Snapdragon processor, 18 cores, along with an Adreno iGPU. As you can imagine, this one also uses Microsoft's translation layer for Windows. Snapdragon laptops haven't been a success, so it's interesting ASUS is still going ahead with a mini PC version. In fact, Geekom offered me their Snapdragon mini PC for review when it was announced, but a year later, and it never materialized. So I guess here's one that will actually exist. Next up, the Framework Desktop is a modular small form factor PC using AMD's Ryzen AI Max series on an ITX board. Thanks to a large heatsink and 120mm fan, I'd say it's quieter than the minis we've tested, going for less volume than this 4.5 litre build with the same chip. There are parts you can mix and match depending on your needs. You can even add a carrying handle for portability. Lug it! Antec is never a brand I expected to get in on the mini PC game, and I'm sure glad they did. The Core Apex 395 looks really cool and features AMD's Ryzen AI Max Plus 395. The standout is dual 10GB Ethernet and the power supply is 330 watts. So it looks like Antec is going to be maxing out the performance of the chip. With a long history of creating cases and power supplies, they should have a good grasp on cooling and fan noise. But we'll have to see. Not much info on its release, only that it's coming soon. And actually, that was a running theme of Computex 2026. The Antec Mini PC was one of my favorites at the show since it was so random and unexpected from a brand I've had a long history with. Oh, and speaking of history, there were a lot of anniversaries at Computex with special events. So here's a quick look at what Tim and I got up to. Minisforum had mostly stuff that's already out on the market shown at their booth, with a few new items on display. The MS-02 Ultra is an AI-focused desktop PC using a high-end Intel mobile processor and very fast 25 gigabit Ethernet. Yep, Minisforum is going bigger and branching out, but you probably could have guessed that with the amount of desktop motherboards they are releasing. They also had a Panther Lake mini PC on display with the latest Intel Core Ultra 7 356H using a similar case to previous minis we've looked at. The most interesting unit on display for me, however, was the M2 Air, featuring Intel's Wildcat Lake processor. This is a lower end chip, and I'm very curious to benchmark its performance. So, can somebody please send me a Wildcat Lake mini PC to test? Don't all message at once. ACEMAGIC was right next to the Minisforum booth. Their retro console themed mini PCs are pretty cool. The PlayStation style unit actually reminded me more of a grey Sega Saturn, and the labeling is upside down, but yeah, otherwise I guess it looks cool. And of course the NES ones aren't bad either. These come in a variety of CPU flavors and are a gimmick that will appeal to the retro gaming crowd. The Tank mini PC featuring AMD's Ryzen AI Max Plus 395 was on display next to the AI focused unit using a more threads CPU, which is basically a Chinese Nvidia competitor. It's the only device I saw using this processor at the show actually, so that's pretty cool. I also ducked into the ASRock Industrial booth since they were next to ASRock. They had a bunch of mini PCs on display with some fanless Intel 300 series. ASRock Industrial's distribution is limited with none available in Australia, and don't want to work with Oz creators, or at least with me, which of course is their right. No, I'm not blacklisted, but that's the reason why I don't review any of them. Most of the ASRock Industrial Minis look like standard Intel NUC boxes, and they don't stand out from what we do look at normally. However, the fanless units were the most interesting, to me at least. I also visited ZOTAC's booth, but again, something distribution issues in Australia and no review units, so here's a quick look. It's possible I missed something since I saw much less of the show floor, and I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments, whatever it is. Anyway, there's an overview of what I did see. Anything tickle your fancy? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and I'll link the Computex playlist in the top corner, which is worth checking out. And oh, look, a fully immersed liquid cooling PC. Cheers.